In the east sat an old woman in Ironwood there, and nurtured their offspring of Fenrir. Certain one in monstrous form will be the snatcher of the moon. Hey there, you beautiful heathen. Welcome to Iwas Initiations. I'm your host, Matt Sargent. Today we're going to be taking a look at bringing balance into your heathen spirituality and how you can use the garden as an important tool for that. As you know, if you followed the channel, I am a huge supporter of a garden being a very important tool for growth as your spiritual path and inspiration in your magical practices. A great place to practice and or learn new lessons. And the best thing about it is it provides food, fiber, fuel, and medicine for your kin, which is great, especially in these uncertain times. Having a garden, providing food and medicine for your family is of the utmost importance. That said, we're going to need to talk about the importance of the ironwood and how it can help bring balance into your spiritual path before we talk about how you can kind of apply that wisdom in the garden to remind you and even further reinforce that wisdom in your spiritual path. So the gardening bit is going to get at the end, but for right now we're going to talk about Ironwood, the ironwood. So what is Ironwood, the ironwood? The ironwood is a forest at the east end of Midgard, and it's the home of Angerbolda. We see mentions of the ironwood in the Voluspa, which I already quoted at the beginning of this video. We also see it in the Haliatal as a place that Skadi is from, or Skadi is an inhabitant of Ironwood. We know that, this isn't just something someone made up. It's not a new age thing. The ironwood is legit. And yeah, it was the home to Angerbolda. Isn't she a bad gal? The Icelandic Christians who wrote the Eddas definitely show her as such, but there's a lot of evidence that shows that she was a very prominent goddess way before Christian times, in the Neolithic times. And we know that the arch-heathens didn't really have the dualistic nature that modern humans have today. They didn't really look at things in terms of good or evil. Things just were. If we expound on that and kind of go into maybe a little bit more neo-pagan philosophy or whatnot, we see that the Aesir represent the intellect or the high-mindedness, civilization. And the Vanir tribe of deities are fertility, magic, and wisdom. And then the Jotun they're the wild, uncontrolled element. And the Aesir are always trying to control and keep out the Jotun. And eventually that conflict leads to Ragnarok. However, and this is a little bit of UPG, if we can balance that Aesir mindset with the elements of the Jotun, the wild, the unknown, and kind of bring balance with that and the Vanir tribe, the knowledge that the Vanir tribe has to offer, then maybe this giant eternal conflict of Ragnarok does not have to happen. I see this personally represented in the Valknut. We really have no idea what the Valknut means, but the more and more I look at it, it's the bringing together those three tribes of the original beings. And I was reminded of this the other day. I was out for a walk in the woods, and I had an encounter that was unreal. Well, that day I had gone out looking for signs, and I hadn't seen anything, and I was on my way home. I came within 10 feet of a mountain lion, and I'm going to tell you that there's no such thing as an accidental encounter with a mountain lion, especially one that you walk away from. I was running back towards my truck. Another truck was driving past my truck, and I heard some rustling in the bushes, and I thought it was a deer running away from the truck. And I look over, and there's a mountain lion running full bore right at me, kind of looking over its shoulder as it ran, running away from the truck. And in about 9 feet, we'll say 10 feet, because 9 feet sounds like an exaggeration. It was really probably more like 8. Either way, 10 feet is really freaking close to a mountain lion. I mean, that thing had paws as big as my head. It stopped and looked me dead in the eye. And there was a moment where I saw recognition in it, and it made the split-second decision of, do I jump on him or do I run the other way? And since I'm here and I don't have any fresh scars or cuts, we can guess how that ended up. It's like, man, that encounter with that lion, it had to mean something. I had to sit out with it for the night and not even think about it, let the answers come to me. And in my sitting, I saw the encounter through the lion's eye. And the lion is very obviously a wild primal force, symbolic of the Jotun. And it saw me and it recognized me. And it recognized what my message is and what I'm trying to share with you and what I hope to create with you as a heathen tribe. And that is bringing the heathens together to save Midgard, save it from ourselves, and bring balance here. But that's why it didn't attack me, is it was sent to me to remind me of this message. We can choose to be in conflict with nature, or we can learn to work with it and partner with it. We don't have to seek domination. As we see in the tales, Ragnarok is a direct result of the Aesir's struggle to suppress and control and conquer the Jotun, and eventually the Jotun rise up and everything gets brought back to balance, right? So how can we use this knowledge to not only benefit our garden, but also work with these ideas in our garden to bring this wisdom even deeper into our heart? If you check out this video about Inner Garden, Utengard, you'll see that the eco garden has zones, and even a small backyard, you can still have a zone 5, a wild place. Something where you're not doing any manicuring, you're letting things be. And that could even just be a pollinator-friendly hedge, an insect-friendly hedge that you're not cutting, trimming, spraying, etc. You're just letting things be. However, we can also let the wisdom of the wild influence a lot of our garden designs. When I lived in Kentucky, the natural ecosystem in Kentucky, what the ecosystem wants to be is a oak hickory forest. Beautiful forest. You can eat hickories and acorns. They're not an ideal food. So say you had an open area and you were looking to plant a food forest and you're thinking about your canopy tree. Well, if you wanted to totally follow the wild, you'd go with a oak hickory forest. Instead, you could go with a chestnut pecan forest. Chestnuts and oaks are in the same family of trees, provide a lot of the same ecological benefits, and pecans are in the same family as hickories. That's how you can get a hickon. You have hickories too close to your pecans, they cross-pollinate, boom, hickon. They're pretty tasty. So that's one way to get food and utilize the wisdom of the wild. Plant a bunch of nuts, what are you going to get? Squirrels, Ratatosk's sons. If you got too many squirrels eating all of your nuts, what's your instinct to do? The natural Aesir instinct that a lot of us carry would be to go out and kill the squirrels, kill the squirrels, kill the squirrels. Work with the wild. What eats squirrels? How can you attract more predators of squirrels? The trees should provide more habitat for raptors, but maybe you need more open areas, more spacing in between the trees, so when the squirrel's running from tree 1 to tree 2, it doesn't have the canopy to provide shelter for it, and the raptors can help you control that squirrel population. You don't have a squirrel problem, you have a lack of squirrel predator problem. If you've got a lot of rodents eating your salad greens and your crops that you're growing to feed your family, you don't have a rodent problem, you have a lack of snakes problem. So how can you invite more snakes into your garden to do that control work and eat bugs and other pests? Piles of rocks, maybe bodies of water. Let nature guide you in your decisions to help bring balance to your garden so you don't have an abundance of a pest and nothing to control it, and leaving the control of the pest to you. Invite that ecological balance into your garden. And as you sit out in the garden and think of these solutions, you're going to be reminded of that wild wisdom that resides deep within all of us, and find that balance, which will benefit you and your kin by providing food, fiber, fuel, and medicine. Basically, many of our agricultural problems come from the being too Aesir-minded, seeking a dominion and absolute control over the landscape. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you are a fan of the videos and you'd like to support me, please check out my Patreon page. There's a link to it in the show notes. If anything, I just love feedback on the different tier levels, coming up with benefits. It was definitely a challenge, so I'd love to know what you think about those, and if you have any suggestions for either a different pricing structure or different rewards I could offer you that'd be great because I'm doing this for you, but I'd love to have some support financially. My family thinks it's crazy that I spend, 8 to 10 hours a week producing the 2 videos a week that I do. I am looking to streamline it, but I'm trying to provide the highest quality videos for you to inspire you to get out there and save Midgard.